Yeah, g'day everyone, I'm Dave. Thanks for joining me. Interesting times again. I said that last video, but every week that passes, more interesting things are happening. The Google I/O has changed a lot in the last 2 weeks. They have, since the I/O and the introduction of the AI search feature, there has been an event which people on the interweb are calling the Great Uncoupling. This is where the disparity between the current SEO, search engine optimization, and getting your business, eyeballs on your business, has all been chucked up in the air. I've been talking about this now for 18 months. Basically, the whole concept of you just have a website, you have keywords, you target keywords, and the old Google blue links come up and people click on that and they go to your website, and then hopefully either the more money you spend or the more blue links that you've got in the top 5 pages or number 1, that is all completely now out the window, right? No one can deliver you SEO number 1 on Google. It just doesn't happen. And today's video, I want to give a few really good examples to back up my argument about why you need to own the conversation. LLMs or agents are going to be the key way that we get our message and the way that the message is delivered, and it will all be conversation. I've shown in previous videos that all the major Google, you've got Microsoft, you've got OpenAI, even Apple now, everything will be voice, everything will be agentic. We are moving into the agentic web. The issue is, as I've done with my creation, my software creation, my app, is a foot in today's camp, but seeding the paddock for tomorrow. And that's the step you need to take. You can't sit on your hands and don't pay attention to this. It doesn't matter how much money you keep chucking at SEO, it's not going to work. And today we'll dive into it a bit further. So it's known at the moment as the Great Decoupling. So if we see here, we're talking about Google search clicks versus impressions, right? So clicks versus impressions. There's some charts here since the Google I/O and since they've made the changes. So this is happening all over the place, right? So what this basically means is that when you have impressions, that means that your link shows up on the page. But the clicks, the actual click-through rates, are now starting to separate. That's why they're calling it the Great Decoupling. Great name. Okay, so here's some examples that people have put around the place, and some of them are very extreme. And we're not talking small websites, 66.9 million impressions. You can see the separation here. There's a line in the sand where this has happened. The line in the sand is basically the way, and we see here, the way that Google show their information, right? Why should you care about AI overviews? Well, if we have a look at a Google search now, the AI overview is at the top. And what it wants to do, it wants to give the correct answer. And as I've always said, AI will, when set a mission, complete that mission. It's not interested in paid ads. It's not interested in other little glittery things and shiny prizes. It wants the information about your business to present to the end user. So what has basically changed since this Great Decoupling event, and here's another really interesting example, right? This is a 23.5 million, right, to 44. Look at the separation on that. So this guy has basically said, if we look up here, in nearly 10 years of SEO, I've never seen anything quite like this. These are the stats from our number 1 ranking blog, main keyword. Pretty well nothing changed except Google. We went from being the answer to watching Google extract our expertise and serve it directly. That's genuinely, and there's genuinely nothing we can do about it, right? We still rank, we're visible, but no one's clicking. Adapt or die, I guess. Adapt or die is it. It is now. Every week I do these. There are new imperatives to jump on board and try and work out how your business is going to remain of interest to people that are searching. Now, as I've said, people are not going to stop searching with Google. People are definitely gravitating more towards LLMs, OpenAI, Perplexity, and in particular OpenAI. OpenAI, because of all the features that it has now with memory, with deep research, everything's inbuilt with Sora, and very, very soon, no doubt, they'll launch GPT-5, which will just be a combination of everything. So it's a one-stop shop for everything that you want to do. So getting noticed by people now is not simple. It's going to be the truth about your business, conversation, people talking about your business. This is what the LLMs and the agents will be looking for. So let's go back down here and we'll do a little bit more backing up. Now, there is a very good speech here, a very good talk on SEO. I would like to play some of this. I normally don't like to just play other people's material, but this one, the guy really gets to the point of what I've been trying to cover as well. So it sort of backs up my argument.
Kind of narrow in a little bit more, but the traditional search was a two-sided marketplace. You had the consumer would go to that list of blue links and they would discover what they want, they would interpret the information, and they would consume the information that they found contained there within. But we're now at this inflection point where humans no longer need to visit websites. And that's kind of the crux of the whole thing, right? Instead of browsing an index of blue links, we send an agent on our behalf. And more than just browsing that content, the agent will actually interpret and prepare the content and then feed it up to the end user on a silver platter and say, hey, here's the answer. And sure, you know, there's a PDF thing that's meant to be the user chewing. The agent will tell the user where the content came from. It will provide sources and citations, but frankly, who cares where that content came from if it tastes good? I think our point is, I'm not clicking those sources and citations. I don't think people will long term. That's just vibe based. Yeah. Search was this two-sided marketplace where consumers visited brands directly. Answer engines steal the end user from that end, from the brand.
Okay, I'll pause it there for a minute. This again, I discussed in a couple of episodes back, that what Google have basically done is they want your information. They still want to be a provider of quality information, as do all search engines. That's their result. You ask them a question, you want the answer. But the big shift now is, as I've said, websites, information, it's not about the humans looking at it anymore. So right now there's a balancing act. And this is why I've introduced the concept of actually using one of my AI assistants front and center on your existing website. That is step number one. You need to have a conversational AI assistant for all the things I've touched on, answering simple questions, showing images about your product, answering sensitive pricing discussions with the end user so they don't just click and go, oh, it's too expensive and go somewhere else, or there's no pricing at all and they go somewhere else. You've got a chance of getting your AI assistant to explain, oh, the reason we charge for this is because it's gold plated or whatever, right? So number one, regardless of search engine optimization, regardless of anything else, it is a valuable AI assistant, should be on everyone's website, because as I said before, at the moment, there's pushback. There's pushback from people not wanting to ask questions, not wanting to use it. That's fine. But what's going to happen very, very quickly is all the major players, as I said, are introducing voice. This is the way that you'll interact. It's an agentic web we're going into. So we'll go back to this. He touches on a bit more now.
And I think that's the big point I'm trying to lead with here. And eventually, our take is that we will enter a zero-click future, and the consumer will only interact with the answer engine. And it's so hard to stay up to speed because obviously since I sent Mike my slides, there's now been the ChatGPT integration with Shopify, and that's becoming clearer and clearer as we go. Every week this becomes clearer, this thesis. And agents will be the only visitors of websites, or the primary visitors of websites is what we're saying.
Absolutely.
And I think Karpathy, who's one of the godfathers of OpenAI and from Tesla, you know, he's got this fantastic line, which you probably all saw doing the rounds on Twitter or LinkedIn, where he says, 99.9% of attention is about to be LLM attention. And for what it's worth, I think we're using LLM attention liberally here. We say answer engines instead of LLMs because I think when you're talking about just the pre-trained LLM, I think that's very different to the actual end product of ChatGPT, which now has system prompts, memory, personalization, a ton of retrieval. Through Profound, our platform, we're seeing like sometimes 70, 80, 90% of commercial search will return via what is being referred to as grounding, or what we would say is web retrieval. So
again, agents. You need to create your message needs to be ready for agents. Conversation is what agents are trained on. Conversation is what agents are looking for. People talking about your product. That will get attention of the LLMs, which means it will come back as part of the Google response. Okay, that doesn't mean that people are going to click on the referral link, but you'll certainly be referred. So, for example, if you take some of the golf courses that I've done, if someone asks a question about a particular golf course, that will come up in a Google search as a normal search page because it's there, but it will also be mentioned in the AI summary of what's going on there with references to where that was from. Now, again, I do agree. I don't think everyone is going to start clicking on reference links. They'll certainly start clicking on, oh, I book here links and things like that. That probably won't change so much. But as we said, that's a very short-lived thing. There's going to be a very rapid changeover between the agentic web, and we just ask our AI assistant to do something. So we'll go back and have a bit more of a listen here.
Now I think this is just framing this concept of agent experience. We're all very familiar with this concept of UX, you know, the overall experience of a person using and enjoying a website. This is a discipline in its own matter. But what if people aren't using websites anymore? Operator from OpenAI, which is what this screen shows, I should have put a label on that, but that's operator from OpenAI, will browse on our behalf. And I think, you know, I've got friends who work at the big models, and the stuff that those guys are cooking behind the scenes that's just around the corner is where our heads are at right now. Operator, computer use from Anthropic, like this is here, is happening, period. So agent experience is the intentional design of a digital environment to ensure that your content, your brand, your products are legible and actionable, and they can be interfaced with via an agent. And I'm using agent maybe a little bit liberally here. That could just be that could be a retrieval agent for all intents and purposes, ChatGPT user agent, as we're all familiar with.
This is interesting.
SEO, to sort of go there, this is it. This is the two slides that trying to articulate what I'm saying. If SEO is the art of ensuring that your stall was well placed in this marketplace for the end user, AX is just straight up understanding that you have an entirely new customer. You have one VIP customer now.
Absolutely.
Which is an agent. And agents are going to become first-class citizens of the internet. Marketers, every brand on the planet is going to need to learn how to understand. They're going to have to connect with consumers via agents. That's, again, it's all very wide aperture. AX experts, maybe that's not the term that sticks, but this new discipline is the idea of rethinking brand, product, and content for that new end user. And I think, Mike, that's some of the stuff that we've spoken about. It's like rethinking this discipline.
Okay, so that is the points covered. That is the latest SEO. James did a fantastic job at summarising what his company is doing. This backs up exactly what is very, very obvious to the way things are heading, and this is what motivated me to create a really simple application that small businesses can use to jump on board to compete with the big businesses. I have already shown in some previous videos now that you can create movie quality commercials for your business. And what we'll do is I'll show you now a real life study. We'll refer back to Sutherland Sally, which is one of the AI assistants that we set up for Sutherland, and I will step you through and I will show you how it fits in today's Google rankings and how it will go into the future. So we will have a look at that now. Yeah, so down here on Sutherland Sally, which is the AI assistant for the Sutherland Shire, has hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages that have been created automatically. So we'll do a bit of exploring of this. So like all good AI assistants, let's just ask it a question. Again, like I said, it's not about now people typing in, you know, I don't know, pizza, granola, whatever. People are more likely to ask questions like, hey, I'm minding my nephew and he loves pizza. Could you give me a good pizza place that I can take him to? All right, so that's the sort of question that people are going to basically ask now. It's not about, you know, one word, keywords. It is all about conversational context. And the answer that will come out in this will also then be published to a page. Okay, sure. Here are some great pizza places in Sutherland Shire. Okay, Pizza Hut, well, everyone knows about that. Domino's, okay, yeah, well, that's pretty ordinary. Crust Gourmet Pizza Bar, that sounds pretty good. Funky Pies and Pizza. Maybe Funky Pies, the Hub Pizzeria. Enjoy your pizza. Okay, well, let me just pluck one out. Say Crust Gourmet Pizza. How do I get to Crust Gourmet Pizza? Now, I'll notice that see, I've got cross, so it's actually even worked out. The AI's worked out. Oh, there it is there. Okay. I'm near Sutherland railway station. I'd like to go there. Can you give me directions? Now, again, Google Maps is probably the go-to that most people are going to use, but it doesn't matter. The whole point is this is having a conversation with an AI assistant. I'm driving the car, I'm busy, I want to know what's going on. Here's a step-by-step guide. It's going to tell me how to get there from Tarrant Point, Southern Railway Station. Okay, head west, go up there, Eden Street, Rawson Avenue, Sutherland Shire, be on your left. All right, oh, it's told me how to get to the railway station. Okay, where can you find enough Sutherland Railway Station? There it is there. There should be a Google link there. Okay, there's Sutherland Railway Station. All right, let's go back and ask. Hey, Sally, I'm after the pizza place address. So let's see if it gives me that. Okay. Do you have a Google Map link for that? Okay, so now it's giving me a Google Map. All right, let's have a look. Now I can find it there as well. And there it is. Okay, so what you're doing is you're actually using the AI assistant to get the knowledge that you want. That is exactly what it's about. It's about using the interface, just talking to it, writing, typing the question, whatever, in any language. This is where the world is going to as I keep going and going. Now, let's get into the nuts and bolts of this, right? We can see it's a very useful tool in its own right, regardless of anything else that the tool does. It's a very powerful AI assistant. As we know, we can log in. If we have a look here, we can log into the back end. We know that we can train the knowledge file. So it's no different if Sally was your personal business. It's exactly the same system, right? If we go to the transcript editor and refresh that, we can see these are all the questions that have been asked, the categories that have been created automatically, and the output pages that are being created. We can see one right there. Let's have a look at that, dining, and that will show us the map. And there it is there. Now, the beauty is all these answers are cleaned and sanitized before they're published to the internet. So you don't need a human to do that anymore. You can use the AI agent to do that. And the output pages, as we know, go to here. Now, again, this is my case in point. I presented these in such a way because a lot of directory sites and things have these these links and so forth that give people, you know, information of what's going on. I'm clicking on one now. It's going to take me to the page. It's got all the information about BYO restaurants, for example, and it's in a conversational form. As a visitor, it gives you the information, right? Now, that is great, but people say, oh yeah, that's fine, but how do these things rank on Google? Well, if you go to Google, most developers will know, if you want to see what pages you've got on Google, you basically type in site : and then your page. So Sutherland Sally was only launched about 3.5 months ago, okay? It's a concept site. We wanted to prove how powerful the software was. Straight away, we can see all these pages have been indexed by Google, all of them. Now, I didn't design this to be indexed by Google. I designed this so that in the future, the conversation about your business is entered the internet. There we go. There's the page there, right? We can see there is, what do we got? 10, and then 14, and then 17, and on it goes. All indexed by Google. So my system works right now, but that wasn't what it was designed for. It was designed for the agentic web. If I go and have a look at the code base, we'll just click in the code base here. All these categories were created by people asking questions, right? So this will be the same with your business. You don't know what questions people are going to ask, right? They're asking questions about your business. It's creating a category for those questions, and then it's putting those categories in, and it's creating pages. We can see hundreds and hundreds of questions, all totally automated and safely done by the AI assistant calling, making sure and getting instructed what to do. All right, so there's a set of instructions there for Sutherland Sally. So we go back to Sutherland Sally. Now, another thing I wanted to show you, which is interesting.
Hi, I'm Sutherland Sally, your local AI assistant for the Shire. Ask me anything, anytime in any language. And yep, you can even post your local events for free. Just ask me.
Okay, so we can see we don't want to fool anybody. We're not trying to make out Sally is a real person. Sally is an AI assistant, and there is her AI image. And we can use the technology now. I'm not using VO3. I'm actually using another Chinese program that
I'm
has
Sutherland
voice.
Sally, your local AI assistant for the Shire. Ask me anything, anytime in any language. And yep, you can even post your local events for free. Just ask me.
Okay, so you can see by the way that Sally operates, it's a very, very good case study on what your business can do. So let's step to it from the beginning, right? Number one, you have an existing website. Your existing website doesn't have any AI capabilities at all. It is just a stock standard website. We know that people will not be visiting websites because they're not going to be found, because even the Google links now are separating. The people that finally clicking through on your product are not there anymore. Your product, if people are talking about it conversationally and you've got a good name and the truth is out there, so to speak, on the internet, the AI assistants and the AI LLMs will recognize that, and your name can get chucked in the answer. And that's what people are after. They ask their AI assistant for a question. The AI assistant goes forth and comes back with an answer. Google are doing that right now. So that's the very first step, let alone the fact it's a very useful tool. So even if it wasn't for making your business grow and it's just providing your customers with a better interface, I've talked about it before, about the pricing and so forth. It's a really good way. It's a great feature to do that. That's a starting point. That's not hard to do. The whole world will be talking to agents. That is, all the big companies have done this. We know that. So the next thing is, why not take that information, use those genuine questions and comments about your business that have got really good answers, that are contextually right. They're not keywords. They're not, one-off words that you're targeting for SEO and paying big money for to get, in a web search. This is actually people talking about your business. You're publishing it on the web. Those pages are found in today's terms by Google and other search engines like Bing and LLMs. So straight away, you've got nothing to lose. But it's really for the future. The future is you need to build your business in an agentic web. As the video before showed, you're only catering for one VIP now, and that is an AI agent that's going to come to your site to give information back to the end user. And the more information, the more genuine, truthful information in the form of conversation about your business will pay benefits in the future. But you need to act soon, because what will happen is, before you know it, and this is how fast this thing's going, you saw those graphs, the great decoupling, these things are happening in the background. A lot of people don't know about it. Hopefully by me banging on and talking a lot about this stuff, you've got a bit better idea. I'm very passionate about AI. I'm a small businessman, as I've said. I know it will create major upheaval in what's going on. But at the end of the day, people want customers. You want customers. You do not want to lose customers. They're too hard to get. You want to take care of your customers. Having an AI assistant is not bypassing that. It's just using the technology to make sure the customers know about your product. Ultimately, I'm the same. If someone wants to talk about my product, they're not going to talk to my AI assistant. They're going to talk to me. But they've talked to my AI assistant to get a bit more grounding, maybe to find out the price and things like that. So when they do talk to you, they already are ready for that final question, ready to purchase in effect if they're actually calling you. So you've in effect weeded out a lot of time wasters as well. Tire kickers, I think we used to call them in the old days. But anyway, I'll leave it there for now, but hopefully I've proved my point. I will continue to try and bring you some interesting stuff, like those commercials that I made. I can show you the software that I used in a future talk. But yeah, basically everything is now starting to really come to a rush, all right? As I always say at the end of each video, don't be scared of AI, embrace it. Embrace what is new, all right? Thanks again for your time, and I'll see you in the next one.